For those of you tuning in, you were seeing a prop that we stopped so Mike could go grab the prop.
I mean, this is kind of, I didn't know that something that was just getting started could already break.
It's oil specific, and people have pointed that out. Hey, you know, Apple makes 20 billion or more a year in California.
And welcome to a new Energy Facts Chats mid-morning live show, I think is what we're calling it these days, Mike. I don't even know, but this is
whatever
me.
it is.
This is me. this is me, JP Warren. This is Mike, my boy Mike Umbro, tuning in from California. We're here to provide the energy headlines, how it correlates to the news. But if you do enjoy these shows and you do want to find out when we go live, head over to YouTube channel, subscribe, and get alerts when we go live. You can kind of tune in and join in on the conversation. Spread the word. We're doing this. This is a little bit of our day, and we love talking about energy, and we're just trying to get the word out there for those out there. We're actually about to start kind of leveling this up and start putting this on the Californians for Energy and Science newsletter and the website. So I'm pretty pumped about that. So Mike, What is going on today? We got some news going on, man.
We got a 2-for-1 because we were both busy yesterday, but that's okay because it's kind of been a slow news day. But I think a lot of big things are happening with the energy boomerang at the international scale and California. $6 gasoline almost average throughout the state of California. We're 11 cents away. It's above $6 a gallon in San Diego.
Right.
$5.89 throughout the state. I had a call back in August that we'd hit $6 by early October. So we're almost there. It's it's no bueno.
So that's a good point. So the energy boomerang you're talking about. So what you're seeing a lot of these projects, a lot of these proposals kind of get kicked out there, kind of, go walk, do this stuff. But however, they are coming back with the realities of whether it comes to returns, investment, whether it comes to the realities and the pragmatic take on can it produce enough energy to supply the population. So you're seeing this energy boomerang. Take, for example, you have, not a lot of bidding on the offshore wind blocks, the wind auctions. You're seeing offshore wind companies asking for more credits, more tax credits, going from originally in the IRA, it was 30%, and then it was 10% more than that. And then not only 3 days later, it was 10% more than that.
Right.
Seeing conversation when it comes to kind of batteries, when it comes to in these
EVs.
In the EVs, whether it's charging stations, whether it's batteries, whether it's efficiencies, whether it's the range people are talking about.
Now the strike, the auto workers are striking because they don't want EVs to dominate, less moving parts, less jobs for unions, Ford, GM, they can't compete. All these things are really snowballing. Brian Sullivan's been reporting on CNBC. Sully's been doing a good job of monitoring some of these larger topics.
And so that's kind of the conversation. What kind of spurred these conversations? Like, let's talk about the energy realities and let's talk about the energy expectations and bridge that gap. And it sounds to us like you are hearing, and honestly, like I like this. I like the dialogue that people are having when it comes to these programs, because look, there has been a lot of like blind faith, jump, head straight into the fire. Let's not even look around. Let's not even check if this is going to be beneficial to the environment, to the population, people, to the economy. So let's kind of get on the and obviously every energy headline that we read ties in, just build is another layer on the story, on the big gumball, is another piece of gum in the big gumball story that we're talking about right now. So let's dive in this to right now. We're gonna add this to stage. Hey, let's get this kicked off. What is the hot thing right now that we're going to be talking about right now?
Well, one of the things that I was really caught by was the first report from the Petroleum Oversight Committee in California. It's not necessarily a news headline, but maybe we should open there because I think it ties well into what you always have coined, bridging energy realities versus expectations. And that is what this oversight committee was tasked with doing, is studying what's happening in the petroleum market in California for Governor Newsom to know why things are happening. Why do we have $6 gasoline? So
Okay.
you had
Okay.
the three main points pulled up there, but I'll read them because they're kind of small on there. But this was the findings of the first oversight report by Ty Milder, who's been tasked with overseeing this committee. Although DPMO's analysis is ongoing, it appears that the recent price spike is attributable to three main factors. Number one.
Okay. So time out. So time out. Just to clarify, a new petroleum group was formed.
Yep. Department of Petroleum Market Oversight.
To look at why gas was up, to kind of regulate gasoline. And so gas is kind of inching up. The price of gas is inching up. They did a quick study on that, and this is their findings as to why. Go ahead.
Yes. So three main factors. And the task force is specifically trying to find price gouging by refiners.
Okay.
But these are their three first findings. One, an increase in global crude oil prices. Fair enough. Makes sense. Two, refinery maintenance events causing decreases in supply that refiners did not adequately prepare for by increasing inventories and imports. Which begs the question, why would one refinery be short feedstock and allow another refinery to capitalize during a turnaround? Why would you purposely sell less than your competitors? Number two, do they have enough tankage on site to properly prepare for these maintenance turnarounds? Number three, maintenance turnarounds happen more frequently when you're running at max capacity, because California's refineries have gone from 30 refineries in the state down to 9. We've lost one refinery last year. We're losing another 2 in the coming years. We've lost 2 pipelines moving crude in the state. So our infrastructure is being shrunk.
So pretty much
our capacity is being
pretty much to
shrunk.
back up, if you have 30 hamsters all spinning to keep this light on, and you remove whatever 12, 15, 17 of those,
21 of them.
21 of them, and you only have 9 hamsters left, they're going to be working a lot more, running a lot faster, less brakes and all that stuff to keep the same light on.
Absolutely. Perfect analogy. So number two leaves a lot of detail just glossed over. Number three, an unusual spot market transaction has had an outsized impact on gas prices. So this letter is telling us one transaction on the spot market is responsible somehow in what we're seeing in California's pricing on gasoline. I don't know about that. Number one, it's probably a thinly traded scenario. There's not that many buyers and sellers.
Listen. I don't want to get lost in the weeds on all this stuff because there's a lot going on. But let's back up a little bit. Okay, so we noticed that the gas and price has gone up for 3 reasons. 3 reasons alone. What are you being in the energy industry? What are you most shocked about that is not discussed in this report as the reasons why?
Let's go through. So number one, I'm shocked that the blame is being placed on the Russian war in Ukraine, which has been going on for 18 months. So this is nothing new. And number one is not supported by the fact that Saudi Arabia announced production cuts in early September, thus driving the market higher. So they're using the wrong cause of global crude oil price increases. Sure, the war in Russia and Ukraine has had an impact, but that's old news. That's 18-month-old news. So there's no citing of the recent news that OPEC has said, hey, we control this market, we're cutting supply. That's the first big shocker that this whole letter leaves out.
Okay, that's one.
Number two, California oil producers have only received 7 drilling permits in 2023. California produces about 20% of the oil consumed out of the whole pie, 530 million barrels a year. California produces about 20% of that for itself. This whole oversight committee totally ignores the fact that instead of thousands of permits being permitted, which is a normal year, we've only permitted 7. So they're totally writing off 20% of the supply and just glossing over the fact that operators cannot get permits. That's ignored. It's not even discussed in the letter.
Okay, so what is there another something else that you're surprised that is not included into this discussion?
Yeah, number three, again, the capacity. There needs to be a detailed technical analysis of why have we gone from 30 refineries down to 9? Will these not, I think the big question is 9 turning to 8 refineries. Will this now small handful of refineries be able to keep up? And should California and the regulators be doing more to support the existing refineries rather than throw stones at them, suggesting they're price gouging? Because
So
what it
okay,
looks
so
like
this
is
this
they're
this
having
this
trouble
is
maintaining.
so this is kind of my issue with this entire this report, the oversight committee, and all that stuff. It has been voiced so many times that California gas prices are extremely high versus the rest of the country, and this seems to be known by a lot of people. It's the taxes. Okay, so
Right.
let's take that off. So this new oversight committee coming out with this report and saying, hey, look, hey, Gavin, hey, Governor. This
Yeah.
is the reason why this is the reason why the population under you are experiencing high gas prices. And if I'm receiving this and it's not paying attention to basic supply and demand, right?
Right.
Basic, I guess, physics when it comes to kind of the load that these refineries can take,
The physical market. Yeah.
or just naturally like, how are we stepping on our toes where we're hindering supply? My thing is this, like, I think that's kind of bullshit. I think that's bogus that this committee and they're not even addressing like the real. So this is this whether bipartisan politics or anything like that. For me, like if I'm sending like my students to do like a report on something and you're missing the basic fundamentals on the realities of what affects price and demand and all this stuff, and you're reporting back this witch hunt where you're just like, oh, this is the reason why, because it wasn't Pizza Friday or it wasn't this. That is frustrating. That is extremely
It's incomplete.
Yeah, it's incomplete, and it's also kind of like it seems like it's there just to solidify the blame game, which isn't going to help. I don't care if you're libertarian, Republican, or Democrat. The blame game is not going to help anyone. All right, so it's
not going to bring the prices down.
So that's the thing, though. So now we're just solidifying the blame game without addressing the issue, the real reason at hand. That's so frustrating.
Right. It is very frustrating. And I don't think people are that stupid to believe this, because the other thing, and you alluded to it, taxes. The price, the state excise tax on July 1 of 2023 went up another 4 cents per gallon, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's at 2022 gasoline volumes sold in California. That's $544 million. Just that 4-cent increase a year.
Yeah.
So that's $544 million. That should be a bullet point in this letter. Hey, yes, global prices are up, but it's because of the Saudi production cuts predominantly at this phase in the game. Our state excise tax went up 4 cents. We're losing refining capacity. We're losing pipeline capacity. We're not permitting new drilling in California. All of the factors need to be placed in this document to have a complete document. So
yeah, and for me, it's like, how do these people keep their jobs when it's like, oh, this is the reason. Would you look into this? No. Have you looked into some basic supply and demand? Well, no. What about everything going on in the actual oil markets? You know, when it comes to OPEC,
right.
No. Okay. Yeah. Stamp of approval. This looks good for me. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
It's checking the box. Yeah.
Hey, checking the box. We're not here to check boxes. We're here to blow those boxes up.
Yep. Let's go to. So this was an interesting one today on the back page of the Wall Street Journal. Oh, I don't know if this headline's on that little spot. Here, I got it right. I got it right here, though. This is an article that says, talks about why Western drilling is slow and why at $100 oil we're like, oh, there it is. Yes. Quiet Western drills set stage for $100 oil. It is right there. I just can't read. But the fascinating thing, Carol Ryan writes this on the back page of today's Wall Street Journal. She says, Western oil companies hope that fat dividends and share buybacks can boost their stock valuation. But the downside of their lavishing investors is becoming clearer. Oil suppliers that put national interests first are increasingly running the show. So OPEC's running the show. But this picture right here, and she uses Western public oil companies as an example here. That picture is Signal Hill, California, in the In-N-Out Burger parking lot. She calls it a rig. It's a pumping unit. But what's fascinating about her using Signal Hill Petroleum, let me tell you what's fascinating about this. Number one, Signal Hill is a private company. They're not doing this for dividends or share buybacks. Number two, Signal Hill last drilled a new well in 2021, and it was a great well. It settled out at 800 barrels a day.
Yeah, you're
you're
welcome.
Permits.
You're welcome, people of California.
Yes, they can't get drilling permits to drill more of their targets. They have several more targets to drill. It has nothing to do with what Carol is describing in the Wall Street Journal. They can't get the permits.
Well,
the state will not give them permits.
Well, what's frustrating is to me that reads like an assumption piece. It is. Oh, well, we want the conversation. We wish the conversations were like this in the boardroom, just to confirm what we're saying at the coffee shop. So I'm going to write an article saying, oh, they're not doing X, Y, and Z because they're sitting around waiting on fat cash.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm curious about you. If you ask any of your operator buddies, producers in California for Energy and Science, on if they're sitting around waiting for prices to be just right. No, they're probably waiting around for the permission to do work, for the approval to do work, and all this stuff. So it's not a conspiracy in boardrooms saying, oh, we wait for this. You know how much conversation is around the table saying, hey, we wish we can do this. The capital's not there. The investment's not there. The people aren't investing in this, in energy that they can use, need, and all that stuff because they're being kind of steered away. So this, again, is an assumption piece saying, oh, I assume that they're doing this, so I'm going to write about it like it's fact. And again,
and then the lay person,
pump jack. Yeah.
It's a pumping unit, not a rig. It's a private company, not paying dividends or share buybacks. They're trying to get more drilling permits. They can't. They're trying to do the opposite of what she's saying. They're trying to bring supply to the market. Yeah. And if the lay person just looked at this, they'd be like, oh, there's a pumping unit, or they would read the caption and say, oh, there's a rig. There's a drilling rig in the In-N-Out parking lot. Now I'm going to get emphysema or, cancer, asthma from this drilling rig, which is really, it just goes to show the Wall Street Journal itself can't even get this right. And the lay person that's not in the industry doesn't realize, okay, none of that is true. Everything she reported on was an opinion piece, and it's not based on fact, or at least the image does not marry with the story. If anything, she should be out in West Texas with an actual drilling rig in the photo,
and then talking about what's happening there. Hey, look, what's going on? What is your decision making, whether you operate or not? Is it the commodity price reaching $95, $100 a barrel, or is it what's going on?
I mean, maybe they don't have pipeline takeaway for gas or whatever it is. There could be a whole host of issues that operators are working through.
Yeah, that's
sad state of the media that we're in, that nobody
knows. Well, because it's an assumption. It's an assumption piece to kind of prove up kind of what you hope that goes along with kind of your story, that goes along with the narrative. And unfortunately, it kind of sucks where it's like, one industry is viewed as, demons and devils and whatever, and all you're really trying to do is the exact same thing as every other single company that will open up their doors, is to make a profit, make a living. But in the oil and gas space, I mean, you're kind of doing more than that. I originally joined the oil and gas industry to pay, rent and all that stuff growing up. But however, the ability to provide energy, reliable, affordable energy, increase energy poverty and all that stuff, and also at the end of the day, provide something that's, whether you like it or not, like it or not, is needed. Just like whether I like it or not that I function off of oxygen or not, it doesn't change the fact that I do. So
that you need
it's so funny whenever it's like it's not a nonprofit situation. It's not a for public good situation. I mean, yes, it is public good, but don't crucify people for trying to make. And it's not like they're sitting around waiting for that price to tick up for that. No, if there's been 7 drilling permits this year and 1,500 last year, you tell me what they're waiting on.
Right, exactly, and it's exactly what you said. She wants to paint this picture of big fat oil and gas executives in the boardroom eating KFC and smoking cigarettes and drinking bourbon and raking in their profits. And that's not what's happening. Specifically in California, a company like that is trying to maintain jobs right now because they can't get permits to drill more wells. And so yeah, it's really unfortunate. And we can, I don't know how much we want to focus. I think in the middle, this one, I tweeted, fracking fallout, is America's drinking water safe? And we saw this kind of go through EFT Twitter yesterday, where the New York Times also had a piece out that showed, a shallow groundwater aquifer and a hydraulic fracturing taking place like just below it, not 10 to 12,000 feet below the water table. So I pointed this out because this is what's going to happen to the Permian Basin. They being activists and folks that do not want to see development are going to start questioning what's happening to the Ogallala Aquifer, the massive aquifer sitting above a lot of the shale reserves in the Permian Basin, West Texas, that and up into the northern plain states. They're going to start looking at that. They're going to rely on hit pieces from the New York Times to misrepresent the geology and make people think
assumption
that you're fracking.
Pieces, yeah.
More assumption pieces. So I just think it's something that, hopefully there's going to be a West Texans for energy and science, because they're going to need it. What's happening in West Texas, you've got, the most prolific basin in the country, and it's going to come under constant attack, just as California's assets are. And it will get shut down if there is not a proactive effort to bring science to the total forefront.
So pretty much
scientifically,
you're speaking something that's so fresh and clean and new. I think in the West Texas or just in the Texas industry right there is number one, being proactive. I don't think the industry's that proactive. Number two, I mean, that's the thing. We're not immune. You know what I mean? We're not immune to regulation. We're not immune to poor energy policy. We're not immune to having this mindset like, oh, you need us, whether you lack it or not. Well, that's not necessarily. We need oil. Doesn't mean we need U.S. domestic oil. We just can ship that in from Saudi, Iraq, or Venezuela, or wherever we want to. Doesn't mean it has to be in the States. So if you do want to protect U.S. domestic oil production, then you do have to get active. You do have to get organized, and you do have to discuss the science behind it. So yeah, 100%.
Right. And we need a CEO from West Texas, a big company, a public company, to write a formal op-ed in the Wall Street Journal and other publications to say, hey, look, this is how we do this. This is the science behind it. And this is why it's good for the economy and the people of the United States. It can't come from a nobody. It has to come from a person that has, a lot at stake in this and is running an organization. And hopefully we see that.
Yep. I mean, we'll see if that happens. Snowy, get out of here. Got my cat everywhere right now. My cat is getting pumped up right now on energy facts.
Your cat wants airtime. Yeah.
I know. What everyone does.
Well, I don't know how many others. I think you had a couple on there. I don't know that we need to go too deep into some of them, but is there anything else you wanted to cover? I mean, you've got climate fund plan poses wealth of risks.
Yeah, look, I guess when it comes to the realities and all this stuff, it's like you see that Legos. Another article you had up there is Legos.
They can't recycle.
Yeah, they're trying to do it, but it's like we're just not finding it. It's one of those things where it's like it's but I guarantee you there's not a lot of people that are going to boycott, villainize, and do a class action lawsuit against Legos for doing that. Because it's just kind of it's where we are, it's where we are as a society, and that's just kind of it. And yes, we're trying to make improvements, obviously, but that's the thing. Look, that just highlights that it doesn't matter if it's the type of energy that we need or the type of toys we play with. How we live, how we consume has to be looked at. And it's not a question of what energy source we're going to use or what that, or, well, I'm going to choose this Airbnb because it's 32% less CO2, whatever. It's not going to be, it just comes to how we consume. And if we consume less, that affects the carbon. So I love when this whole finger pointing this. For me, it's just a lot of noise, and it's just including Legos, whether it's the toys we play with or whether it's the cars we drive. It is how we consume is kind of it's a topic. It's a topic. And it's
Absolutely.
so
And I
easy.
think
And it's so easy to point the finger at one company or one industry or one this. Like, you're the reason I'm this way, or you're the reason that. No, we all are.
Mhm.
So okay, that's my
yeah,
soapbox.
yeah. No, that's great. I think just to wrap all this up, it all ties into, we've seen a lot of announcements. We've seen a lot of government mandates at the state and federal level. And
Yep.
now the rubber's hitting the road, and Lego can't recycle. Batteries are tough to recycle. The auto workers can't live sustainably in an EV world. California can't keep the prices down. All of it is coming to reality.
But it's also important, and again, this is going to be my wrap up. It's also important to stay on top of this stuff, to be involved in these discussions, because whether you like it or not, when policy hits, it usually hits the consumer a little bit after. You know what I mean? So
Right.
they could be
And it
pushing through.
lingers.
They could be pushing through so much stuff that in reality just really kind of costs families more and more and more, and it's not reliable energy. You have all this stuff. They can push that through. And when we feel it about 60 months, 18 months after the fact. So we're all paying more out of pocket and all stuff. So it's important to get involved in these conversations and to stay on top of them. So that's kind of my 2 cents.
Absolutely. And not only that, it hits us after, but it's going to take time to get to a sustainable policy framework rather than this stop-start. Don't do this anymore. Oh, we need it. Oh, it's not a light.
It's ridiculous.
It doesn't work.
It's ridiculous.
That way. Yeah.
So anyway,
cool.
that's all I got, buddy.
Yeah, likewise. Let's do it again tomorrow or Friday. Either way, we'll wrap up 1 or 2 days.
I'll be landing in Oklahoma City tomorrow, so we can do it tomorrow afternoon. But I want to thank everyone out there for tuning into Energy Facts Chats. If you enjoyed it, make sure you like, share, talk about this, spread the good word, because Mike and I will be focused on kind of getting the word out there about this a little bit better. But again, thank you all, and we'll see y'all. Oh, man, I wish I had this time. And we'll see y'all soon. For those of you tuning in, you were seeing a prop that we stopped, so Mike can go grab the prop.
I mean, this is kind of, I didn't know that something that was just getting started could already break.
It's oil specific, and people have pointed that out. Hey, Apple makes 20 billion or more a year in California.